don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning big, you might as well go on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to Officer Tatum Show. I want to make sure I tell you guys about Shinergy Life. It's my new supplement line. Incredible company. There's thousands of people that are buying the supplements, and it's very good. It tastes good. It looks good. This is green, so you can't see it. But if you go to ShinergyLife.com, you'll see it. Natural supplements, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial food coloring, none of that old crazy stuff. Formulated from the ground up. It's not private label. It's not somebody's formula that I'm piggybacking off of. No, our formulator, Steve, made it from scratch. And I told him exactly what we wanted. We wanted energy with no crash. We wanted less caffeine so you don't have a caffeine overdose. And we also want a supplement where you can get good sleep. Therefore, you have complete energy. The name of the game is complete energy. You get great sleep. You recover throughout your sleep. You wake up with energy. You have sustainable energy during the day. Nobody in the market is doing this. ShinergyLife.com, ShinergyLife.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this. I feel like I'm an oracle. Why do you say that, Brandon? I feel like I'm always right. And why are you always right, Brandon? It's because I don't say things that I don't know about. If I'm not familiar with the topic of the subject of the conversation, I ain't talking about it. Let's go to Jacksonville, where thugs decided that they were going to shoot a op, is what they call it, their enemy, and they end up taking the life of a 7-year-old boy. He was 7. He didn't deserve it. He was a kid. And these thugs mowed him down. But let me add this. Do you know why you haven't heard of this story? Many of you haven't heard of this story. Do you know why there's no T-shirts? Do you know why you don't see Benjamin Crump? You don't see the NAACP? You don't see your favorite actors and comedians and celebrities talking about it? Because these 7 thugs gunned down a 7-year-old black kid. Put the clip on. Put the clip of the young man. If this doesn't infuriate you, I don't know what will. D.L. Hughley, Ari Spears, all of you cowards that come out every single day of the week and cried. You cried yourself to sleep because a white woman said the N-word to a kid. But these young boys murdered this kid. When I saw this picture, I said, I can't look at it. I can't look at it. Because I'm incredibly sad and disappointed that this young boy, as cute as he is, had a future, had a promise, had a dream. People loved him, and his life was cut short because thugs. And the part that bothered me more, or like second to him actually losing his life, is the fact that why aren't people supporting him? Why does his GoFundMe look like completely, like it's completely irrelevant compared to others? This little baby who obviously had a future, who wasn't involved in gang activity, who wasn't running from the police, wasn't pulling guns on nobody, looked like he was a little football player, probably had dreams and aspirations to be great one day. His life was cut short. And how much money have they raised for him? $14,000. $14,000? Karmelo Anthony decided to stab a white kid in the heart. He raised $500,000. Now, I'm not doing this because I need y'all to pat me on the back and say, no, but I want to support this kid's family. I told my people we need to reach out to mama or whoever's putting on this GoFundMe so we can figure out what else do they need, because it breaks my heart to see a baby, a 7-year-old boy, lose his life over complete foolery. And so we, as Officer Tatum, we're going to donate and help. I think I'm committed. I'll give $1,000 to help. And while maybe after the show I'll do it. You'll see it pop up, so don't think I'm out here making up something. But I want you guys that are watching this, as you listen to the story and you see the developments as to what happened, I want you to make up in your heart, do you want to support? And I'm asking you, you can give $5, you can give $20, you give something. The woman who called a kid an N-word got $500,000 in her GoFundMe. A black kid stabbed a white kid in the heart, he got $500,000 in his GoFundMe. There's got to be thousands of people watching this. You ain't got to give $1,000 like we will. But I want you to give something. And then when you give, just say that Officer Tatum sent you. Why would I want you to say that? It's not for me. It's because I want this family to know that there's people outside of the community that care about them and that want what's best for the family that they lost this kid. All right. Now you don't have to give. I didn't even know I was going to say this, but you don't have to give if you don't want to. It's just, if it's on your heart, like it's on mine, you can give something, even if it's like $5. All right. Let's continue to talk about this. Play the clip of the police chief who articulated very clearly what happened in this scenario. One second. We're working on it. I think I had a clip over here and a clip way down here that we had to get. All right, roll the clip. Sound.
He ended up confessing and telling who else was involved in the murder of 7-year-old Breon. That is a huge, huge relief.
Has that been a long, ongoing case, or?
It's been three weeks, a month.
Someone killed a 7-year-old?
7-year-old, yeah.
Why? Because
they're cruel animals who don't care about the life of a 7-year-old.
Stop.
Who was walking with a...
I want you to put this in perspective. Chief is 100% right. Now, I want you to put this in perspective. If 7 white kids shot a black kid, he'll have $10 million in his GoFundMe. If this chief was white and said that about the 7 thugs that killed this young man, people be mad at him. I'm just stating the obvious. If this was a white man saying they're animals, people be mad at him even though they killed a 7-year-old. So I'm glad that there's men like this who are chiefs who are willing to stand up and tell the truth in the face of potential backlash. It is what it is. These are animals. These 7 thugs had no business shooting at somebody that had a kid, with a little kid, because they were shooting at somebody else while he was walking with the kid and ended up killing the kid. Roll the clip.
Another kid who was not a kid, but a young man who was the actual target. So instead of them holding up and waiting to get him alone, or not doing it at all, they decided to open fire, killing a 7-year-old child.
So what's going to happen? That's life sentence?
It could be. That's a good chance that could be a first-degree murder. If that's a first-degree murder, they stand the opportunity.
So let's go to some of the detailed situations that we need to establish when talking about this incident. The gang connection. The young man who was targeted I think he was 21 years old. He was 21 years old, and he's a part of a gang. Although I do feel sorry for young people that get themselves caught up in gangs and end up getting killed, I don't feel sorry that he was getting shot at, because he shouldn't be participating in no gang anyway, and he probably would have did it to them, or he did something to them. That's why they coming for him. He is the reason why that young kid lost his life, 100%. It was a rival gang, and this is when the problems ensued. Suspects and charges. 6 suspects ranging between the age of 17 and 24. 17 and 24. The people who are activists in the black community would never say this to you because they don't give a F about black people. This is a big problem in the inner cities of our country. Most of these young men who are dying are between 16 and 35. Most of the young men who are doing life in prison for killing other black people are between 16 and 35. Our young generation of Americans of African descent are literally dying every day, either by gunfire or by jail time. These young men, 17 to 24, life's over. So not only does a 7-year-old lose his life in the black community, the kid that's with him is probably going to go to jail. And the 6 suspects are all going to do life in prison. So if you do the math, that's 8 lives gone in one incident that probably took, 20 seconds. 20 seconds, 8 people gone. Forever. But your favorite celebrity will never talk about this. They won't give money. Let's see. I put this out here when we promote it on our social media, on other platforms. I may just do a direct ask. Let's see what celebrity name pop up to give money on this. Let's see. I want you to see what celebrity. I want you to see what activist that's out here crying every time a white person do something, that's out here supporting Karmelo Anthony, which activist is going to give something. They ain't got to give $1 million. Give something to this family. They're going to be charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy. The shooters who were identified are 2 shooters. Both are 17. But I believe that they snitched and told who else was involved, thank God. Rifle casings matched the suspect vehicle, which placed the suspect at the crime scene. So this little kid not only got shot, but he was hit with a high-velocity weapon, high-velocity round, an AR-15 round. Not a 9mm, not a 40, but an AR-15. Eviscerates people. And that little kid got hit with an AR-15 round. The chief says, Chief Waters, that it was a planned attack, it was targeted, and it was a completely unnecessary, as you heard him say on the clip. Breon's mother urged the public to keep his memories alive and thank the police for swift arrests and the response. There's no T-shirts for Breon. There's no GoFundMe, but a $14,000 GoFundMe, which you can't do nothing with $14,000, and his future was worth more than $14,000. I don't know what to do about it. I want to help. I don't know this lady, you know what I'm saying? But losing your baby is never a good thing. I want to give mama a hug. I wish I had enough money to make sure mama be okay. Make sure this kid's legacy will never die. I literally, I don't know. What do we do? Because if this kid was killed by a white person, they'll be selling T-shirts, fundraisers, press conferences. What do we do? I don't know what to do. All I can do is donate. I'm going to try to contact the family, and hopefully we can make a difference. Because it's senseless murders. And I feel like we can't always support thugs and not support real victims. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of these people who were actively involved in criminal activity. All of these people who were actively fighting the police or involved in some form of fashion where violence was perpetuated against police. And they get millions of dollars. And they get statues. And family get invited to the White House. And they do all these things. But a 7-year-old who didn't have nothing to do with this, who was not a gangbanger, who was not thugging, who was not knee-deep in the dope game like Breonna Taylor was, with her boyfriend shooting a cop at the door when they knocked on the door with a legal warrant. Y'all finna get me worked up. George Floyd did a home invasion on a pregnant woman, before he went to prison the first couple times. In and out of prison. Mr. I can't breathe. The guy in New York, I forget his name. He was arrested 43 times before the cops used force against him and he ultimately lost his life. Y'all want to go to that list? Philando Castile was arrested he was pulled over 100 times before he was ultimately killed by police. After what police believe he was reaching for a weapon, which we won't know because he dead. Let's go down the list. There's another situation here in a minute I'm going to talk about where 18-year-old boy illegally in possession of a gun in a stolen vehicle, fleeing from police. I bet his GoFundMe is big. They actually tried to do a GoFundMe and they took it off. He probably do a GiveSendGo. I put my life on it. He'll raise more money than this kid right here. Let him put it on GiveSendGo. They gonna support that dad that ran over a cop, killing a man that had nothing to do with nothing. We'll get to that in a minute. It's bothersome to me that that our young people are dying like this and we don't care. And when I say we, I'm talking about America. I'm not talking about you and me. We care. So as soon as I contact his mom and them, I'm going to see if there's something else we can do to help. Because I can't stomach this anymore. Of a young kid this young and nobody cares. $14,000 GoFundMe. $14,000. And if you kill somebody, they going to raise $1 million for you. If you fight a cop and lose, they raise $1 million for you. Benjamin Crump will get on TV right now and demand justice when the person was wrong. We'll see. We'll see. I want y'all to help me support because I don't have enough money by myself. I wish I did because I'll give $1 million to the family. I don't have enough money on my own. So if y'all care, you want to help and you can help. I'm not saying because you can care and not be able to help financially. Maybe you can just share the video and get the word out there. We should put the link to the GoFundMe in the description section. Okay, perfect. All right, let's switch gears real quick. And it's all going to make sense to you as I continue on. And I did not wake up this morning trying to talk about black people in a negative way. I really want to start to change my verbiage because I don't want people to think I don't like black people. I just don't like the N's. I don't like the hard R's, right? There's a lot of good, successful black people that I love, incredible people. I was around a couple of them today. Great people, just like anybody else. But then there's the ones, just like the white ones and the Mexican ones and of any race that are absolute horrible individuals, disingenuous, evil devils. And those are the ones I don't like. Those are the ones I call out every day. The ones who sabotage their own community and sabotage and hate America and full of divisiveness and lies. Let's go to one of those fools that I dislike and I'm vehemently against. Is this guy named Dominique Alexander. This guy is a convicted felon, criminal, and to be honest, he is literally ruining the case for Karmelo Anthony. Now, I'm not saying Karmelo Anthony had a good case to start with, but absolutely the worst look that you could potentially do as a family is have this guy who can't even speak proper English, who don't have a good reputation in the criminal justice system, himself has been to prison for assault and all kind of other violent crimes and theft. And then they had a good opportunity to taint the jury pool in a positive way for Karmelo Anthony. Because Austin Metcalf's dad, which I disagree with him on trying to be unifying, because I said these people don't want to unify with you. The ends don't want to unify with you. They hate you and they despise you. But Austin Metcalf's dad wanted to be the unifier. If this dummy over here, if he wasn't race hustling, he would have had a moment where the two families could have come together and grieved together. And that would have melted the hearts of many people to feel like maybe Karmelo Anthony isn't a bad kid and maybe his family isn't out to get white people or all of these things. And then maybe people on both sides could come together and say, this is a tragedy and we hope the best solution for both families. But he can't do that because they race hustling. He kicked this man dad out of that event when he was just coming to be united because they both lost their sons, potentially. Listen to this fool with his fake explanation of why he kicked Austin Metcalf's dad out of that event. Roll the clip.
Let me say this. The Anthony family didn't even know that Austin's dad was even in the facility. They didn't know that Austin's dad was here until he was actually removed by DPD. One of our security people asked him to move back. He looked back at him like he was entitled, or like he didn't have to move, whatever it may be. We didn't even know who he was at this time. We just asked him to step back. Then one of the members of the media told us that, hey, that's the dad. I said, the dad of who? I said, who? What? He was like, yeah, that's Austin's dad. I said, I know you lying. Like, what? He can't be here. And so what we initiated is making sure that we secured the facility. Let me make this very clear. The Anthony family didn't even know he was here. But how do we know what he came here for? He didn't come and asked or come to us and said, he just stood there. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if we started the press conference, and I'm not accusing him of anything. We didn't know if he was going to pull out a gun. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Pull out a gun. Okay.
But at the end of the day, what we just wait and just say, oh man, just let's start the press conference. We didn't pat anybody down coming into the facility. We didn't look at everybody. We didn't know, y'all. But these YouTubers and TikTok and all these people started to rush to judgment. I'm being insensitive. I'm being this. I have a press conference with a whole media press corps in a family that I have to ensure the safety of. NGAN had at least 12 people on our security team that day. We could have removed him if we wanted to. We could have literally done that. But no, what we did was we tried, because of the sensitivity of the case, allow DPD to handle it. If anybody that was there, no, we didn't lack security, right? But where he came in and approached, we could not allow him to stay there. Not only outside of the fact that this is a current pending criminal case, right? And the press conference was about the Anthony family and their use of funds. The funds that they have not even received yet at that time. So it wasn't really about the particulars of the case. It was about these false narratives that came out about how they were using their.
Now, let me say this. This guy's an ignorant fool, if you ask me. He tried to say, well, we had security. We had 12 people on security. So why you have that much security but don't pat nobody down? What are you saying, bro? Why do you got security and they didn't do anything? How do you have 12 members of security and first of all, he's saying we had security, but you didn't pat nobody down, which what are you securing if you got this many people? And nobody on your security team knows Austin Metcalf's dad, who been on television as much as y'all have. So what security do you have? What are they there to secure? Who are they there to protect when you got a person who you say, we don't know what his motives are? Security let him in the building. We let the PD handle it. Yeah, because you wanted him to be embarrassed, because the thing is, it would have been even more embarrassing if your security team would have kicked him out and it would have been a conflict. Probably would have violated his rights. Because if it's a public event, it's not a private event. You don't pay for it. You can't kick people out of a public event. But what I will say is that keep being evil and keep putting that energy out there. And I think that it's not going to bode well for Karmelo Anthony, because the public is beginning to be more turned off more and more this guy talk. And where's his GoFundMe at this point? Do we have his GoFundMe? Let's go to it's about how much? 520, almost six. They raised it to 600,000. Why do y'all need $600,000? I'm just wondering. The kid ain't dead. Y'all need $600,000 to what? Defend him in court? They keep raising the number, 600,000. And he the one killed somebody. And I swear, if you go through and look at, is this scrollable? It's just a picture. If you go through and look at the comments, they're disgusting. They're racist. Let's listen to the CEO of GiveSendGo. He went on Fox News. We have that clip. Let's roll that clip real quick. Roll it.
How proud am I of this campaign? I don't I wouldn't say I'm proud at all. I don't, what, if there's any level of like, any level of, say, I don't even like the word pride in it. But when to be a to be utilized as a unifying platform, which I believe we are. We're being utilized to bring hope into difficult situations. I'm very happy to see the impact that our platform has had on so many lives, so many campaigns around the world. And this is just another one of them. The circumstances are very difficult, but we get difficult circumstance campaigns every single day. People who just got a death sentence by cancer diagnosis, or a family passed away in a tragic car accident. We see a lot of tragedy, which is why people oftentimes need to fundraise. This is just another one of those. So pride, no, I have no pride. I have no pride in this campaign being on GiveSendGo. I just have appreciation for what GiveSendGo is doing in the midst of these tragic moments, which is standing on principle, which is loving people even in the midst of very hard and dark places. There will always be people donating for the wrong reasons. I mean, on any campaign, there are people that believe that the best way forward is racial division. That's what they believe, and so they're going to stoke the flames of racial division however they can, and people do that all the time. That's just the prerogative of living, or the let's say, not even say penalty, but when you live in free societies, which we do, there is a price to pay, and that is it allows for some people to do things that might not be good. And I think people do that all the time. Like the death threats that we have, or just even saying nasty things to people. Like, well, that's your prerogative. I don't think that's a good thing. Like, do you think you're building society by cussing and swearing and being derogatory to people? Like, no, I don't think many people would agree with that, but yet we have freedom to do it. And so there are people that think that's the best way forward. And I don't find any validation in that in the real world as far as making a positive difference. I think it just adds more fuel to the fire.
All right, I think I heard enough.
They're happy.
So the CEO made his statement. You get his point. I think he does have a point to a certain degree. I don't know what it's like to run GiveSendGo. They do a lot of campaigns, and I think it's incredible that people are able to crowdfund for things that they truly, honestly need. But people like the lady that called the N-word to the boy, and then this Karmelo Anthony thing is a shame. But I think what the GiveSendGo CEO realized is that if they don't discriminate against people who raise money, then they make more money, right? You can't go and you can't go on GoFundMe. You go and GiveSendGo. They just made, a couple points off of $1 million raised between the two of those people that's involved in somewhat of a race war. Speaking of GiveSendGo race war, here's another situation. I made a video about this yesterday, and it obviously had a tremendous amount of reach, but it's the Ryan Hinton family. And this is the situation where the young man, 18, had no business with a gun. I don't care who you are. This is objective truth. The young man was 18, illegally possessing a firearm. Like, is this his GoFundMe? I thought they got rid of it. They made another GoFundMe. This boy, and of course they show a picture of him playing football. They show a picture with that pistol in his hand. Think about this for a minute. Why would this kid be in a stolen vehicle with a pistol in his hand? Do you think that this picture represents what this kid is all about? I don't think so. They found a random picture of him looking sweet and put it up there. Show the picture with the pistol. Not you. Show the picture with the pistol. Show the picture of him running from police. And I want to make a contrast. Karmelo Anthony's GoFundMe, $500,000. This kid's GoFundMe, after he had a gun illegally in a stolen vehicle in which he probably stole from a black person. His is more than that 7-year-old that got killed. Y'all suckers can't lie no more. Your motives are clear. Mark Carey, I don't know who that is. I want to is this clickable? No. I want you to click, you can just tell me. I want you to find this GoFundMe and click on a see top donors. I want to see if a celebrity or somebody pop up as a top donor. Mark Kelly donated $1,000 to this kid. He's considered a top donor. Go to top. So the top people who gave $1,000. So two people gave $1,000. One was anonymous. One was Mark Carey. Another one was Sade Britt. And then another anonymous was $200. People giving money to this boy family, and he running around with a stolen gun. But let me play a clip of the press conference that his mama and them had. Is it a video or just a text? Let's play the clip of the press conference so you know. But let me say this before we started, just in case you're not aware of the situation. I know I mentioned a little bit. 17-year-old running around like a thug with a stolen gun in his hand with an extra magazine. Who knows what crimes were committed with that gun in a stolen vehicle, get pulled over by the police. He's running from the police after not obeying no commands that they were giving him. They show a picture of the gun in his right hand. He's running with the gun in his hand when he encounters a cop after he's running through trash cans. Now, the cops claim that he pointed the gun at them. The family claimed that he didn't. The body-worn camera that we were privy to doesn't show the full story. It doesn't look like he pointed the gun. It doesn't clearly look like he pointed the gun on the body-worn camera, but that doesn't really matter because if he's running like this and the cops see the gun like this, a cop can interpret that as being pointed at him because the gun like this can easily go like this. The gun like this can go like this. You shouldn't be running with a gun in your hand in the first place. What are you planning to do with the gun? It's not on the hip. He's running with it in his hand. He didn't ditch the gun. He didn't leave it behind. He didn't throw it down. The boy is running from the police with the gun in his hand. What is he going to do with the gun? Can't jump a fence with it in your hand. And if he's doing like this in one little glimpse, a cop see the gun, the cop can reasonably interpret that he's pointing the gun at him. It happens like this. It don't happen in slow-mo and you watch it 10, 15 times. It happened like this. The cop is chasing somebody. Watch out, he has a gun, he has a gun, he has a gun. He look, he see the gun, see the kid, see the gun in the hand, boom. And this sorry family, I want to cuss. What are they saying? He was a good kid, he was doing this. Okay, maybe he was. But one of you sorry son of a guns, get up there and tell us why he had a gun in his hand. Get up there and tell me who raised the boy that you show a picture of him being a football player is running around illegally in possession of a stolen gun and an extra magazine in a stolen car. Talk about that at the press conference too. Why y'all raising a boy like this? Roll the clip.
I'm Rodney Hinton Sr. I want to give a condolence out to the officers that got killed, my whole family. I'm asking for forgiveness, and I've been praying hard for the officer that killed my grandson. I've been praying hard for him and his family because I know he's hurting off this. If I seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too. So that's what I seen. So it's not about revenge or anything. I have nothing against nobody. You know, my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ, and I represent Him. So, with that said, please, everybody, just try to forgive everybody who done anything to anybody.
It's written for you.
Time out. I love that. Now, I hadn't seen his press conference, but I like that. To me, see, his son is the one that ran over the cop and killed him. I wish his son was thinking like that. I wish when that boy died and he watched the body camera, he didn't say, I'm going to go run over a random cop. Let me tell you why. Go back. Put him on the screen. I like that. I like him. This is the way you do a press conference, in my opinion. I mean, in this situation, right? Be honest about the film you watched. I didn't see a cop kill. I saw two scared people. Is that not fair? I like this guy. Hold on, let me finish what I was going to say. But his son, see, this is the problem. I bet this man raised his son right, and he went off. And then his son raised his grandson wrong. Because what he's saying is right. Putting God first, forgiveness. He ain't on here lying about what he saw in the footage and none of that stuff. And I know you get hurt. You see your kid get killed. I don't care if your kid wrong. I know it hurt. But he fair. And unfortunately, his son wasn't fair. Because not only did the kid die, who had a stolen gun and all that stuff, his dad is also dead. Because he went and ran over a cop and killed a cop. He finna do the rest of his life in prison, maybe get the chair. How is that justice? You raised the kid with a gun doing crazy stuff that y'all told him not to do. He ended up getting killed. Then you go kill a man that had nothing to do with it. You lost on every end. You lost as a parent. You lost your son. And now you finna lose your life because you killed a man that had nothing to do with nothing. But I will say this, because I'm not afraid to say it. I didn't watch the press conference before this. I misjudged how this was going to turn out. Now, I don't know if anybody else is going to get on camera and say nothing crazy, but this looked like he a good man. And he had the right mindset. And it's sad for that boy to die, but be honest when you're at these press conferences. Roll the clip.
Make sure you understand.
Yeah, it's a peace thing for me, for everything, for everybody to heal off this. I want everybody to heal off this. You know, it was just like a mistake. I really feel bad for the officer who was shooting because I can see the scariness in him too. People can't see it because I'm going spiritual with this now. So I was able to see that God had allowed me to see this part of the accident. You know, just like my son made an accident too. So he made an accident. Just, you know what I'm saying, just trying to just move on now. That's all I'm trying to do on. And I'm praying for the officer and their family. You know.
How hard has this been for your entire family from Thursday into Friday with all of this playing? That's a lot.
It's been hard on my side of the family. I know it's been hard on Tori, because me and Tori, you know, we and her is so tight. We usually being born on the same day. So God, it's crucial how me and her have to end up to explain this now. We born on the same day but different years. You know what I'm saying? So all this was building up to this point. But I was trying to I have to bring the peace to this. There's no violence in this, no revenge.
You're aware there's social media chatter that people in the community might feel a different way?
We haven't been on it at all.
I'm being no social media. I don't do no Facebook, nothing. I just rely on the power of God. That's it.
I can't even express how I feel right now about. I'm angry because it shouldn't have never happened. I want to find out exactly what.
Hold on. I bet you grandma was telling that boy, don't you go and with them guns and you be thugging and listen to that music. Don't you go out there and act like that. You were raised better than that. Your grandfather raised you better than that. Don't you go out there and act like a thug. Don't you go out there hanging with them boys. Don't you go out there think you some gangbanger and you going to be a thug. You're going to end up in jail or hell. Don't you go out there and act the fool. Because I swear some of these kids, their grandparents be telling them and they don't listen. And then they end up like this. Roll the clip.
Steps was taken and the protocol. And if everything comes out that it's not what it should have been, we need to do something about change in training and diversity and understanding us as a black culture. We as black people, we don't deserve to be killed.
Hold on, Grandma. Grandma finna mess it up. I'll play it, but Grandma, don't mess this up, Grandma. I know you feeling some type of way about your grandbaby. or whatever he is to you. But grandma, you finna mess it up. Please don't say, please, grandma. If I had my grandma, I'd say, grandma, come here, grandma. I love you. Like, don't get on here and say nothing crazy, because the dude in the background, which black people, you don't know how old they are. Because I think this is the guy who killed the police officer. I think that's his daddy. So that dude got to be in his 60s. And she looked kind of older. So this may be great-grandma. Regardless of that, he finished it good. Grandma, don't start talking about black people, because what your grandson did ain't black people. What your grandson did is foolery. Unfortunately, he's dead. I wouldn't tell grandma this to her face because I don't want to hurt her. But for y'all, I ain't probably never going to, this woman ain't never going to watch my videos. But don't say us black people and they got to understand us, because us ain't 18-year-old with a stolen gun in a stolen car with a gun in his hand running from police. That's not us. We don't deserve to die, but we also ain't putting ourselves in this situation, right? How many black people get shot? Let me put this in perspective for y'all. How many black people get shot unarmed every year by police? We just assume that every unarmed person is, now let's say black people that get shot, period. I think the number got to be like 1,200 or something like that. I mean, I don't even know if it's that much. But let's just say it's 1,200. It's 40 million black people. So 1,200 black people out of 40 million black people, that's, I think it's more of a chance you get struck by lightning and get killed by the police, period. So black people ain't getting killed by the police like that. So your grandson ain't an example of black people. He's an example of thugs, thuggery, hard R's, unfortunately. And I wish this wasn't the truth for that young man. But you got to call it for what it is. You shouldn't been doing, you running around with a gun is crazy to me. Extended magazines, and what are you doing with the gun? Why are you in a stolen car? Did you rob somebody? Do you got bodies on that gun? Why are you doing this? When it don't look like you came from a family that's crazy like that. Roll it.
Just because we're running away from the police, we're scared just as much as they are. Whether we did something right or wrong.
Grandma, he had a gun.
This is everyday life for us, being scared of the police.
No, Grandma.
Take that in consideration while everybody is making comments on the parent should have did this and the parent should have did that.
Okay, come on. Because I ain't worried about it.
Grandma,
I want to address all the negativity and saying he was being in a stolen car, this and that. Listen,
come on, but don't mess it up, please.
He was supposed to be at home that night.
Right.
And shit, let me get this out. He had no business being in a stolen car, man. He had a bed to come home to. He slept in a car. He couldn't get in the house. All right. He called me like 6-9 times, like 12, like between 12 and 1. He called me trying to get in. Text me. And I was asleep. Ryan, I'm so sorry. This was never supposed to happen to you. Ever. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I'm so sorry.
Boy, that's so sad. I want to cry. God dang, boy. Why this boy in a stolen car? Why does this boy got a gun? That's the thing that, it sounds sad, but it's like, I remember when I was young, I thought that stuff was cool. I thought having a gun, being in a gang was cool. And I know how boys get caught up like this, but why do you have a gun? If the kid was just in a stolen car and he was running from the cops, he would have never got shot, for sure. He'd have probably went to jail. He probably got a little time, but he wouldn't have lost his life. But why does an 18-year-old boy got a gun? Ladies and gentlemen, like, I'm going to be honest with y'all. When I was young, when you live in the hood, and I don't know if they live in the hood, I'm just assuming they do, because this hood behavior right here. When you live in the hood, you got access to a lot of stuff that regular people don't have access to. When I was in high school, I cannot confirm or deny that my brother bought a gun from somebody. It's an illegal gun, it was a stolen gun. You can get a stolen gun like it's like getting some, I don't know, some Girl Scout cookies. He told homeboy, look, you got a heater or what? I can go get you one. I don't know. We all in high school. He come back. He had the gun. Now, I was too scared. I didn't want nothing to do with it. Brother went to not confirm or deny, my brother went to the parking lot at the school, took the gun, shot in the air a couple times, boom. I don't know what he did with the gun after that. I don't know what he did. I don't remember ever seeing it again. But that's how quick you can get a stolen gun. And we didn't wear raised like that. But listening to that music and embodying that lifestyle, I swear, I hope a young boy listening to me, it will not lead you down a path of success. It is a myth. It's a lie. These dudes out here rapping and acting like that, they ain't living like that. Go talk to somebody that went to prison for some real time. Talk to somebody that went to prison 15 years, 18 years, like Raphael that I know. Ask him about the sounds at night when grown men getting raped in there. I called my cousin on the phone. He been in there 15 years. Call him on the phone, tell him how I feel to be in prison. Tell him how I feel to be in prison when your daughter was a little kid and now she almost 18. She finna graduate and you ain't gonna see the graduation. She went to prom and you ain't see the prom. She gonna have her first boyfriend, you ain't gonna be there. She gonna get married, you ain't there. You ain't walking your daughter down the aisle. You ain't had a woman in I don't know how long. Come on. They don't tell you about that. Raphael told me that he was messed up because in prison you grow physically, but you don't grow mentally. He had never had a girlfriend before he went to prison when he was 15. He had never had a girlfriend before. He never kissed a girl before. Raphael had never been to prom. He never been to a graduation. He never driven a car before he went to prison. Let them D-boys and them dudes making the music, let them tell you that part. Let them tell you how you want to take your own life because you feel like your life over because you've been in there for 15 years in a cage like an animal. You ain't been outside in the free world. They have invented cell phones while you've been in prison. My uncle has been in prison before they had cell phones. He's my great uncle. He got 25 years to life. He been in there since I was like 8. I'm 38. He been in there over 30 years and he ain't getting out. He went in when I think they had the block phone in the car when they had car phones. No internet, no cell phones, no Facebook, none of that when he went to prison. There was still VHS tapes and tapes that you put in a tape player. You pull it out and you wind it up like this, put your finger in the hole and wind it up. Nintendo was a thing when he went to prison. It wasn't even Nintendo 64, just regular Nintendo. Can you imagine that? Let them tell you it's all cool to be gangster and be a thug and you out here grinding, you doing all this stuff. These fools live in Beverly Hills. They live in Calabasas. They live in the foothills. They live in a multi-million-dollar house with security and all of those. And they telling you to thug it on the street and gang bang and throw up them signs and they all cool and they doing this and snorting coke and doing drugs and it make you think it's fun. That ain't what you think it is. That ain't what you think it is, bruh. When you get out of the hood and you live in real life, you're going to realize that what you've been doing and believing is crazy. Your mom and daddy not being together is crazy. That's not normal. Living in the house of domestic violence, that's not normal. Watching your mom and them fight ain't normal. Having to fight your cousin and them on a day-to-day, you know what I'm saying? That ain't normal. Smoking weed, looking at Playboy when you an 8-year-old, that ain't normal. You get out of the real world and sagging your pants and gang banging and thugging ain't normal. I'm just speaking on my own personal experience. I used to think that was normal. I wrote an essay, not an essay. They told you to catalog where you want to be in the next 5 years when I was a senior in high school. Tell me why I said I want to have a baby, and then the next year I want to marry my baby mama. I meant that with my whole heart. I was gonna have a kid, and then I was gonna marry my baby mama. I wasn't getting married first before I had kids. That's subconsciously in my mind. And you telling me other young brothers don't think like that? I've been in there, man. I done stole before. I done fought people before. I ain't never robbed nobody. And that stolen gun situation, I didn't touch the gun because I was like, I don't want to touch nothing. Somebody got killed with this gun, my fingerprints on it. I wasn't dumb enough to touch that gun. I done been in the gang. I was 5 Deuce Hoover Crip. I got jumped in by my cousins. I went to juvenile when I was 8. We were in the holding cell. We didn't go all the way back. And they scared the living out of us. They told us we were going to get a year in juvenile. You know how scary that was for me when that 8-year-old thinking I'm not going to see my family for a whole year? I mean, I had a pit in my stomach. I'm glad they did me like that because I ain't never picked up no weed after that. We were gang bank smoking weed. I was 8 with my older cousin smoking blunts on a tree on Lil John. It was actually a street in front of Lil John. But in that little park, some of y'all know Fort Worth, we in that park smoking weed under the tree, laughing, dizzy. Smoking so much weed, we dizzy. And I wasn't raised like that. But we hanging around family members that do that. We used to have to fight. We didn't have to, but we used to fight each other all the time. Our big cousins want to see what little cousin had the most heart. So we put the boxing gloves on and we go at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying I grew up bad. I'm just keeping it real. This is watching people fight wasn't a real thing, wasn't weird to us. People fighting was how you respond. Somebody disrespect you, you fighting and stabbing, and I remember I saw. I'm gonna move on. I want people to hear more about like the B Tatum that you see now is only by the grace of God. I remember family members' boyfriend doing drive-by on the house. And we wasn't there, but I heard homeboy did a drive-by. He was abusive. I saw my cousins beat him up. He beat him up. He was being disrespectful to my auntie, my great aunt. Homeboy fighting on her and stuff like that. He came home one day and her sons whooped him pretty good. All right. I'm going to get off here because I don't want none of my family to be mad at me that I'm saying none of this. Y'all don't know their names anyway. All right. I think that's the last one. Do I got one more? Okay, one more. And it's funny because all the topics that I'm talking about is these shootings that occurred, which I could talk about Stephen A. Smith. Let's move on. Can I do 2 more, Nick? Yeah, just main one. All right, let's do 2 more. I want to just give a brief synopsis of the shooting of a 23-year-old Michigan man killed by undercover cops. We need to talk about this, right? I don't have all the details. They haven't released any body-worn camera footage, but obviously people are incensed again because another black man has lost his life at the hands of the police officers. And I'm not trying to be weird or nothing, but this boy ain't 18. And the picture that they got of him is when he was 18 at his graduation, I'm assuming. He's 23 years old at the time that he got killed by police. He's 23. Stop showing pictures. I mean, if you want to be honest, stop showing pictures of him in high school at graduation when he's looking the best he's ever looked. I want to see a picture of him at 23 years old. When at 4 o'clock in the morning, he decided to exit the vehicle and shoot at police officers. Now, let me put this in context because I don't have all the facts. And the cops could be wrong in this situation. I highly doubt it given the facts that we do have. So allegedly, the state troopers were doing an undercover gig, which means they were in unmarked cars in plain clothes. Now, I want y'all to put this in perspective because people have an idea of what happened. And as a police officer, I have an idea of what happened. When you're a cop and when you're a civilian, these two ideas are different. With state troopers at 4 o'clock in the morning is when this situation happened. When they're in an unmarked car and they're in plain clothes, 9 times out of 10, they're in unmarked plain clothes means that they have tactical gear on, but they're not wearing a police uniform. It is highly unlikely, because we don't see video or nothing yet. It is highly unlikely that state troopers who are working gang tax or auto theft task force is walking around in a t-shirt and shorts like me with no tactical gear on. 9 times out of 10, there's a difference between being undercover and in plain clothes, or being in an undercover capacity, or being pretty much an undercover. Let me explain the difference. Put me in full screen. Let me explain the difference. Some units are in unmarked cars, but they're still in uniform. There's some units that are in unmarked cars, they're in plain clothes uniform, which means they have a tack vest that says police on it, so when they jump out on you, they're readily identifiable. And then there's some officers that are undercover. That is a whole different thing. Undercover means you are in a vehicle that is probably a vehicle that was auctioned from a drug dealer who lost his vehicle. So you get to ride in that vehicle. It don't have government plates on it. It's not a registered vehicle with the DMV like every other vehicle. And you're undercover, which means that in no form or fashion do you present yourself as a law enforcement officer, because you don't want them to know you're a law enforcement officer. So you're not going to do a sting. You're not going to bust nobody. You're not going to approach nobody unless you like a regular person, which means that there's no law enforcement activity whatsoever while you're undercover. You are the guy that's dressed like Brandon Tatum, but I'm actually a thug. I'm actually a gangbanger. I'm actually a drug dealer. You've seen me sell drugs. I'm completely out of the realm of being associated with police if I'm undercover. The media, in my opinion, put this back on the screen. The media, I think they're trying to paint this as undercover cops approached him at 4 o'clock in the morning. Therefore, he was so afraid he defended himself. What it looks like here is that these officers were, let's see. Well, maybe I gotta look into it because I don't know, so let me not speak on it too much. I'm just giving you guys an idea. Let me read through the thing before I get the facts wrong. So it does say law enforcement involvement, Michigan State Police auto theft team, plainclothes troopers in unmarked vehicles, undercover vehicle theft operation. Now, like I said, it can get dynamic, so we got to see more to know more. But when they jump out on you, I'm assuming if they jump out at you to do a tactical engagement with you, they are not going to be in plain clothes without vests on, right? They don't want to get shot and killed if they're going to get into altercation. But there is a capacity where both of these things can be true at the same time. I know I'm probably confusing people, but whoever is interested in this will get it. Because you could have the UCs undercovers and the unmarked, right? So they got you in a car. They got you dealing with the drug dealer that's actually a cop. They jump out, take you down, take him down. That you don't know is him because he go to jail just like everybody else. So it could have been a multitude of different functionalities within this situation. But I should have got to this at the beginning. But regardless, allegedly, this kid is in a car. The cops are approaching him somehow where it's nothing but white guys. So who jacking you and there's a bunch of white guys? It's not happening, especially not in the hood. You see white guys, you know they police. Ain't no white guys gonna jump you in the hood. Well, regardless, I guess the white guys, the police officers come out to some degree, and he doesn't talk. He doesn't do nothing. Allegedly jumps out the car and starts shooting people. So as he jumps out the car and started shooting the cops, they return fire, and that's how he lost his life. The family, there was a press conference associated with this. Is this a clip? Play the clip because I think Mama or somebody going to talk on this clip. Roll the clip.
The car pulled up and 4 Caucasians got out
Caucasian.
and they shot him. After they shot him and
Hold
he
on.
laid in that ground, they told
Hold on. She said, and I want y'all to be clear on this because this is what the media is taking, and I don't think it happened like this. She said that 4 Caucasians walked up to him or came up to him to some capacity. And he get out of the car and they shoot and kill him. Well, clearly that's not what happened because an officer was shot. He shot and they returned fire. They didn't just gun him down because he's sitting and got out the car. Now, right now, I'm going to play the clip here in a second, but right now we don't know if the kid was involved or not, which would be even worse if he wasn't involved because that means that if he wasn't involved, the cops may not have been targeting him, but he jumps out of the car, spooked, and starts shooting cops, and they shot him back. Keep rolling it.
his brother shut the f and called the ambulance, and then he put his vest on and flaunted it. The sweetest love. That young man was sweet and loving. Like,
Okay, let's go through real quick the timeline, the police version, family version, and I think this will sum it up for you guys real quick because I know I was rambling. There's so much stuff on my mind at one time. When you watch the other video when Nick put it together because he put his magic on it, pause. He put his magic on it and then he make it look good because my mind thinks like that. I'm going everywhere. Timeline: 4 a.m. Troopers conduct a undercover operation encountering Hunter. So I don't know what that means, right? I don't know if they were targeting him. I don't know if they were actually undercover with plain clothes or undercover UC or undercover tactical unit with vests on, and they had the police lights on. We have no idea how they encountered this guy. Now, I swear, if they had their police lights on, I'm going to be peed off that people were even challenging this. But they did some encounter with him. The initial MSP statement said that Hunter exited a home and opened fire. They clarified in a clarifying statement and said that Hunter exited a Chevy Cobalt and opened fire. His family is saying that Hunter returned home from work and stopped by a gas station. While walking to his vehicle, he was confronted by armed men in unmarked cars. It says plainclothes troopers. Now think about this. What I don't know how they would do it. Like how would that happen? Like if they're in plain clothes, they normally wouldn't have a gun out. But if they have their gun out, they must be saying something to him. So I don't know how this gets misconstrued. When you out and you pull your gun out and you're in plain clothes, 9 times out of 10, you tell them to get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground. You see a bunch of white people in the hood telling you get on the ground, they're cops. I mean, everybody know that. I mean, Stevie Wonder can see that. Or do he think they're armed and he's walking up to him so he decides to shoot him? I don't know. I don't want to speculate. It's wasting my time speculating. The family believed that he believed he was being robbed. He put his legally owned firearm out and fired. Troopers returned fire, fatally shooting him. Let's see. One of the troopers was hospitalized and is in stable condition. The family says that Hunter, the young man who lost his life, was not involved in auto theft. He was not the subject of police investigation. Troopers did not identify themselves before the confrontation. If I hadn't said nothing else, this is what you need to pay attention to. The family says police officers did not identify themselves. This is going to be the crux of this investigation, and when the information come out, we're going to talk about it. If they got out of the car and they didn't identify themselves whatsoever, yet they were doing police actions, hey, the kid dead, but they're going to sue it out as the police department, and these officers going to be in trouble, and they probably should get fired, right? Should they go to jail? I don't know, because it can get dicey in the middle there. But if they're doing police action and they didn't identify themselves and he returned fire, he's justified. Meaning that if he lived, he wouldn't go to jail. But a lot of times these families are lying to you, or somebody lied to them, because if they identified themselves to this man and he still shot at them, I'm going to rip the family in half. The police department said Hunter's connection with auto theft remains unconfirmed. Investigation is ongoing. So they haven't confirmed to us that he was a part of this investigation anyway. All right, I might do one more story and I'm gonna let it go, but sorry for the rambling on that. All these things are popping in my mind as I'm interpreting what's happening. Last clip, I think you guys will have fun with this clip. Stephen A. Smith goes on Chris Cuomo's show to talk about the Democrat Party and its failures. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I kind of think I had something to do with some of the stuff Stephen A. said. A little bit. Just a little bit. It might not be the whole thing. He's a man that can think for himself, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. Roll the clip.
And I'm abhorring or lamenting the state of affairs within the Democratic Party. I'm basically talking about what they were focusing on. They may be doing things on the state and local level and may deserve an abundance of credit for it. But that's not the message that we were receiving. And you know why we weren't receiving that message? Because they didn't think they could sell it to us. They didn't think that that would be good enough. They wanted to make sure, oh, we're going to point to racism. We're going to guilt you into voting for us. We're not going to talk about the things that we're doing positively. We're going to talk about what the other side is doing negatively to engage in fear mongering to help you through fear factor go our way instead of theirs. And it didn't work this time. And to be quite honest with you, even though I might not like some of the things I'm seeing from the Trump administration thus far, the bottom line is I'm glad it didn't work, because I think for the longest time, black Americans have played the role of suckers to the Democratic Party. They've guilted us into voting for them, making us feel as if we're going to be ostracized, creating division within our own communities or what have you to get our vote, instead of saying to us, hey, this is what we will do for you, and it will work better than what they're offering.
That's the clip. Hey, let me be honest. I think that's all Stephen A. original. Because when we talked, I said it a little differently. So I can't take all the credit for Stephen A. saying it like that. But I do think in part, maybe over the years of me being bold, Candace and others being bold, it empowered Stephen A. Smith to become bold about what he's saying right now. Because I think years ago, Stephen A. would have never said that. And I think there's no lie in what he just said. But listen to what I had to say on the show, and you tell me, did any of this rub off on Stephen A.? I don't know. You tell me. Roll the clip.
Is that your way of saying that you felt the left did that to us, that they just disregarded black folks?
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. All the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues.
Okay.
They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't have to bid for our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
so they're never going to do nothing for us.
That part I get. But when you say they did nothing, I'm thinking about civil rights legislation. I'm thinking about infrastructure. I'm thinking about
all right. Y'all can go and watch the full clip because I don't want to just belabor the point. But I go on to tell him that it was actually the Republican Party who unanimously voted for the Civil Rights Act. The Democrats filibustered for the longest filibuster in history until Cory Booker just did the longest filibuster in history. And it was a racist Democrat. He later changed over the party to becoming a Republican. But when he filibustered the Civil Rights Movement or the Civil Rights Act, he was a Democrat. Because that's what Democrats were. I don't know, for whatever reason he switched parties later on, but when he filibustered, he was a Democrat. The Democrats never unanimously supported the 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment. It was only Republicans who unanimously supported. The Democrats were split on it. And if it wasn't for the Republicans, black people wouldn't be free, they wouldn't have the right to vote, and they wouldn't have citizenship. They never did nothing for black people. We can go back in history. What have the Democrats done to support the black community? And if they were doing something that good, then why are we where we're at today? How did we get worse? Black people were outpacing the growth and success of white people in this country in the 30s and 40s and 50s. They were outpacing white people. And I'm not trying to make a racial comparison. I'm just saying the direction that the black community was going post-slavery. On schools, on bus lines, on businesses, entrepreneurs, millionaires, on land, you name it. Black people were progressing at a higher rate than anybody else. And what happened? Maybe racism is real. The Democrats are the ones that are guilty of it. They looked at the black community, in my opinion, and said, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe, just maybe, they looked at it and say, if we don't secure this easy manipulated vote, the Democrats will never be in power ever in the history of this country's existence. We got to find a way to get the majority minority on our side. This is what they said. And let's trick them with Martin Luther King, who's a Marxist, and let's get them to believe that it's better if they join us. Meaning that they abandon their schools, they abandon their bus line, and they join forces to force desegregation. Rosa Parks got on a white bus, but black people had their own bus line. Did you know that? It was staged. Some of y'all know it was staged, right? There was a young lady that actually got in trouble for sitting in the back of the bus, but she couldn't be an example for the movement because she was 16. She had a baby out of wedlock, I think, at 16. They couldn't use her. So they staged Rosa Parks to do it so that they can get the reaction they wanted, so they can pass legislation that they wanted. It wasn't natural. It didn't occur. It wasn't this woman sick and tired of going to work every day and doing all this and all that. I think Rosa Parks, I think she had a car when she did that. She had a car when she did it. It's all staged. It's the problem with black people today. We thought Martin Luther King, I have changed my mind about Martin Luther King, not in totality, because there may have been things he done that was good, but the totality of, or no, not the totality. Some things I do like that Martin Luther King did, and I think he stood for some things that I value. I think overall, Martin Luther King screwed us. I think he screwed us. Don't you find it interesting that he is now on every street and statues are elevated in his name, but they don't get Thomas Sowell, they won't give him a position in the Black History Museum. What's his name? Clarence Thomas. I said Thomas Sowell, I'm confusing him. Clarence Thomas, they won't give him a time of day in the Black History Museum. They don't consider Clarence Thomas whatsoever. He'll never have a statue. Have you ever thought about Thomas Sowell will never get the respect that he deserved? There should be a statue of Thomas Sowell. Why there's no statue of Thomas Sowell? They barely talk about Booker T. Washington, do they? Y'all hear them talk about Booker T. Washington? When did they talk about him? And all these other conservative black men that were entrepreneurs in spirit that generated so much wealth and success for the black community, they won't talk about them. They don't get the name in the lights. They don't have no name, no streets named after them. Why is MLK the most elevated black man to ever live? You know why? Because I think they used him as a pawn to control the black community. They used a black reverend. That's why that Negro Reverend Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson still hold the title reverend, and they ain't preached at a single church. I want y'all to go back in history and see if you can find Martin Luther King sermons. Tell me what church Martin Luther King belonged to. I'm not talking about denomination. I'm talking about what church was Martin Luther King's church. He was a traveling evangelist activist. I don't believe, from what I know, that he didn't even have a church home. But they knew that the black man would admire and respect the reverend, respect the pastor, because black people were knee deep in spirituality in the church. That meant something to black people back then. So if they want to manipulate you, they will manipulate you with a pastor. Al Sharpton ain't preached a sermon in 50 years. Why is he still considered reverend? I'm telling you, they can manipulate the black population through the church. And I believe that's what they did with MLK. Because if you listen to Malcolm X, and I'm not trying to pick a side, but if you listen to Malcolm X, maybe you should listen to what he said. Malcolm X was a separatist. And I'm not all for separatism in perpetuity. But at the time when black people were growing and building as a community, separatism wasn't a bad option for them. just like Jews were separatists, Asians were separatists, Italians were separatists, generally speaking, meaning that they had their own community, they kept money in the community, safety in the community. I mean, it was a community. Black people were the only group of people, by and large, that said, let's break from our community and force them to accept us in their community. Let's try to put our kids in their schools, and let's abandon our schools and our teachers because they can't get a job at the white schools. Instead of us building our schools, we want to abandon our schools and go to the white school. And the black teachers that are teaching black history and things that people complain about today don't have an opportunity to teach these kids. And I want this to be very clear because somebody's going to take me out of context. I think that inevitably, it's a great thing that we all are one. Inevitably, it's a great thing that we don't live in a country that's divided by race. But I honestly believe that that should have been a natural occurrence and not perpetuated, instigated, and strong-armed by the government. I believe people would get along if people created value for one another in fairness and in trade. We would all got along. Do you see there being a problem with Hispanics that come over in this country? Eventually, if you add value, people going to get along. All right, I said enough. I love you guys. I got to get out of here. My stomach hurt. I ain't ate nothing. All right, do we have super chats? I'm sorry, y'all. I can't do the super chats. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you all for the support, but I haven't eaten today and I'm feeling a little shaky, okay? So I love you. I appreciate the super chats. God bless you. We put them up on the screen so people can see them. Put the super chats on the screen so people can see them because I'm not going to read through all of them. But I want to give people love that did it. All right. Just scroll through. I appreciate you, Vince. I appreciate you, Adam. I appreciate you, Pineapple. Appreciate you, Adam. Dustin. I appreciate you. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.